Right. Let's see if we got this thing fired up properly. Here we are. Live stream again. This is January 2023. Back here. I wanted to do another live stream and this time go over some of the more affordable stuff that I have in stock. Sometimes it's not, it doesn't really make sense to put these things on my website. So I often have, a few little things, littler at least, compared to the crazy stuff I often have kind of kicking around. So I thought I'd go through some of that and maybe do some Q&A if anybody shows up here as well. I'm really liking doing these live streams. I finally got my setup here so that I can pop back and forth between this sort of straight on shot. I can talk with you guys and a nice watch shot. So it works really well for that and flipping back and forth. And I kind of just like interacting. There isn't a lot of watch news lately. I hope to be able to use this to comment on, new releases and any sort of watch news as it comes up. But there hasn't been much over this past week. So instead, I'm just popping in and showing you guys some stuff from the safe. So yeah, as we go, if you have any questions that you'd like me to address, about anything, not these pieces specifically, but anything you can think of, pop those down in the chat and I will get to those at the end. Okay, cool. Let me go over some stuff. I'd like to also try an experiment, sort of. I want to see if I can sell anything through these at all. So if you like any of this stuff and you're interested, you're a real buyer, please email me, steve@TickTocking.com in the next, let's say over the weekend or something, and mention that you saw it on this live stream, and I'll give you a, super ridiculous price on some of this stuff, okay? So we'll see how that works. All right, so this is a watch that is not kind of a typical thing that I would have in stock. Funny story behind this is that I bought it actually for my wife for her birthday. And the idea was it was going to be, it's a birth year watch for her. And I thought that would be kind of cool. Frankly, I just couldn't figure out what to buy her for her birthday. And this came up and I thought, hey, maybe that'll be good. The problem with it for her was that it only has this one removable link. And if you take that, there's no other way to downsize the bracelet. And if you take it out, it still was way too big for her wrists, so we just couldn't get it comfortable. So I'm gonna move this one on. It is a vintage gold Speedmaster. It's the Apollo, 1969 first watch worn on the moon reference. This particular one, the serial number dates to 1984, and you can see it's not like a museum quality piece. It's some chips on the bezel and stuff, but overall, like, the case is nice and thick and the dial is nice. Nothing wrong with the dial. A few little marks on the plexi crystal that somebody could polish out, but they don't bother me. Overall, I thought it was a nice, honest example. The bracelet isn't too stretched, and I knew my wife wouldn't necessarily want to baby it or something, so I didn't need the best one on the market, but I have this and it's priced, it's going to be priced way under what you see them on Chrono 24 or something like that with. So anyway, these are cool. I just love like an all gold watch, and that just looks great. You can see the bracelet size fits my wrist perfectly. There's a guy on eBay that's got some links for these, so if you had a bigger wrist, you could buy some extra links. This is all I've got with it, but fits my wrist really well, and this kind of a perfect sort of weekend fun, gold sport watch to me. So I love gold watch with a gold dial. It's just awesome. Obviously Rolex is the king with that, but there's also like the AP brick that's the all gold with the gold dial has always been my favorite. And just this overall look, and then the kind of splash of black to give a little bit of contrast. Cool watch. Okay, let's move to the indie area. Here is, let's go here. So this one you've seen, I've done video reviews of the HYT H1 before. I spoke about this on the last live stream, and what I mentioned there, in case you weren't watching, but I'll go over it again now, is that I think these are like an insane bargain right now, because basically HYT, first of all, the watches are always super cool. Nobody makes a watch like this, obviously, with the fluid. Watch my other review and just see, actually we can do it quickly. But the mechanism is like incredible. Let's watch it when it goes. It's insane. When it hits 6 o'clock and this goes retrogrades all the way back, that fluid. It's just like one of the coolest things in watches. But the problem was the company had some sort of, I don't know, financial difficulties, whatever occurred. I stay out of the drama of all of it. But in general, they didn't do well for a little while. And so the watches started to be priced extremely aggressively, like a company that had gone out of business, basically. However, in the last year or 2 years, new ownerships come in, new management, a lot of money. They've resurrected the brand. They're making really cool new watches also. They've committed to servicing these older watches, and yet the prices haven't moved up at all. So it's like an insane bargain now. I feel like you can buy these for the cost of something that is out of business, basically, but they're in business, and you can get it serviced and you can get anything you need. And you kind of already know that even if they were to go out of business again, which they shouldn't, but let's say they did, it's already priced to where that would be. That's already kind of priced in. So to me, it's a great bargain for just a cool watch. Like, you can't touch a watch this cool. I can sell this for way under 20 grand. And if you just look at what you can get there, it's not even close. So anyway, that's a really cool one. And this is a cool version. It's called the Velvet Gun. And it's this sort of gunmetal, purpley gunmetal color. It does have a little bit of wear on it and no box and papers, which is why I can sell it so cheap. You can see like a little bit there. There are some really faint scratches in the anti-reflective coating of the crystal. But, this is made to be, they don't even show up on the video. But yeah, like, this is made to be a watch that you wear. It's a sport watch, obviously, by the rubber strap and the size and everything. And it's a super cool, it's just cool. Look at the quality of the movement here. That's some real horology that you can get for under 20 grand. There's just nothing close to that. So pretty cool one. I don't know. How are you going to do better than that? Tell me what's better than that for the price. Tough to find. Okay, next. Vianney Halter for under 10 grand. Okay, so this is another really interesting, it's a collaboration, Vianney Halter and Louis Erard, or I don't know, my French is too bad for my profession, but this obviously is a kind of entry-level model, but made in conjunction with Vianney Halter. And the coolest thing about this watch is the hands. So obviously most people have never owned a Vianney Halter, but if you have, or you've ever seen one in person, especially a classic, the most noticeable thing by far is the hands. The hands on the early Vianney pieces are incredible, and they're kind of the biggest draw of the watches. He was using, especially in the classic, it's, the movement is nothing super impressive. The finishing isn't that impressive. And it's, the mystery rotor is cool, but it's not that big of a thing. Most of the interesting part of that watch is the case and case finishing and the dial and hands. So here for, well under 10 grand, you have the Vianney Halter hands. And I'm gonna show you. There's just kind of nothing else like them. They're really interestingly shaped, finished. The blue is incredible. The multiple steps on this dial is really spectacular. It's just a beautiful watch for the money.
again, you know, I think it's going to price out kind of around $5,000. So look at the multiple finishes. Like you have this sort of graining finish and then the polish there. So there's, I hope it comes through the levels of this dial, and then the hands set it off. Anyway, really cool watch. It's beautiful on the wrist. Let's get focused there, camera. There we go, baby. Super nice. Like you can see. Sick. I'd probably change the strap if it were me. This is the original strap. I'm not so much for this bulky suede. It just looks a little cheap to me, I think. So I'd change that out, but easy to do, you know, standard lugs, no problem. Million straps you can get for this. Put it on a leather strap, good to go. Boom, done. All right, next. Nomos. Incredible brand. I don't get a lot of these just because they're kind of cheap. They're not like my wheelhouse. I've never really made the economics of selling these more affordable watches work. You have to do a lot of volume, and that's not really my business. And you know, by the time you ship them back and forth and do whatever, there's just not much margin to have. So a lot of these will come in, if they come in, just, you know, I'm doing another deal with somebody and he's got these also, and I just take them to make his life easy or something like that. That's sort of the story behind this kind of a thing. But this is like an incredible watch, and what a brand. I love, obviously, Glashütte and the German watches, and here you go, right from the heart of German watchmaking. And it's just a classic color combination, a classic design. It's great on the wrist. I actually have several friends that are like not watch people that wear Nomoses like this. It's really, you know, it appeals to current style and sensibilities, I think. So I have this, and this is like well under $5,000. I mean, we're talking like really affordable for like normal people here. So that's cool. Okay, no questions so far in the chat, so I'm just gonna keep going. All right. You know what? Let me show you something cool. Give me 1 second. All right, I had this. I was actually going to put it away, but let's take a look at the one more thing. You don't need to watch me as I do such a thing here. We need that there, and we're gonna. Okay, check this out. This is the Jorn pen set. Now these came out like 15 years ago. And it's this insane set of pens way before Jorn was a, you know, crazy hit of a brand, back when they were just little independent guys. It's got this amazing wood box and everything, but it's a set of 2 pens, and they are platinum and gold and, you know, really amazing materials. This is a ballpoint, which is really nice, ballpoint, but nothing super spectacular, just really nice feel, nice materials, obviously beautiful. But the really cool one is the fountain pen. So check this out. This is the fountain pen, and you can see the top here. Watch this. As you turn the back, it opens, and very sort of alien, the nib comes out. So that's something really cool. I've never seen a pen like that. It's like, you know, a lot of times watch brands will like make a pen or an accessory of some sort, but it just is basically something with their name on it. This is some actual engineering that is really neat. And you can see that the nib itself, it's platinum, and it says Jorn on it. Can you see? There you go. Platinum 9, FP Jorn, Platinum 950. So something really cool. Check this out. Back. One more time. Wow. That's insane. Anyway, this is something really cool. Okay. Let's see what... Now, that's all I brought. That's all I brought to really show. Should I show one more thing? Just for fun? Let's see. Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. You've convinced me by your quietness in the comments here. This somebody just wrote, did you already showcase the Habring? I put the Habring in my last video, so you can see it there. But I do also, that's another really cool kind of affordable watch that I have, is the Messina Habring dead seconds, jumping seconds watch. It's about 10 grand and, you know, really, really cool for an indie watch with a cool complication. Here's a good one. Okay, I have a few other things here. Just in case I ran out of things to say, I brought cool watches. All right. Boom. So this is a watch I actually bought for myself. I find myself kind of never wearing it. So, you know, if somebody must have it, I would move it on. But otherwise, I enjoy owning it. This is the Octo Finissimo Bulgari in the anniversary sketch dial. These were like impossible to get. I had to pull a big favor to get it. And I had the normal titanium version of this for a while and sold it and upgraded to this one. It was one of the few watches that I saw on Instagram, like right when it was released, and it just like blew my mind. Just an incredible, cool design. And I still feel that way, that this is one of the great releases of the last couple years. But you can see, incredibly thin. The movement's actually quite beautiful. I love the micro rotor. Check it out on the wrist. It's ultra light and just really interesting and unique. To me, this is like infinitely cooler than whatever the latest like time-only Royal Oak or something is. Like, great, yeah, do like a 15202 jumbo or whatever, you know, spend a lot of money. But the base kind of whatever Royal Oak, I mean, these are just cooler. This is a cooler watch. And this anniversary model, I think, is the best one that they've made. It's just awesome. Love it. Okay. Should I do one more? Maybe. Maybe. Should I? All right. I'll show you one more. Just a little bit of one more. I happen to have, I just grabbed, or I was just, sorry, on my way back to the bank vault to put this one back. I had it out to take a couple photos of. I don't take it out often, but I will, maybe while I have it, I'll make a full review video. Maybe. Let's see. All right. Here it is. So this was like a grail for me for years and years. The first time I saw one, I couldn't afford it. And then by the time I could even think about maybe affording such a thing, it had doubled or tripled in price. And then I was lucky enough to get the other version. I'll leave it secret for a minute, but this was made in a couple different versions. Two main ones, a gold version and a platinum version. And the gold one was made in more numbers than the platinum was. So I was lucky enough to get a gold one, which was incredible. Loved the watch, sold it. But I always really wanted the platinum. The platinum to me is the ultimate, kind of the ultimate piece. And it's quite a bit more rare. I think it's 3 times more rare and quite a bit more valuable. So anyway, I got an opportunity finally to grab one of these, and I did. And I haven't made a video of it yet, but I'll make a full review video. But in the meantime, yeah. yeah, baby. Now we're talking. So this is, of course, a Lange Tourbillon. This is the original OG bad boy. This is like pretty much as good as it gets to me. You know, whenever you can combine, there aren't many perfect watches, and this is basically a perfect watch. And then the few that there are generally also don't happen to have an amazing story with them. But of course, this is one of the few watches that Lange made to relaunch the brand after, you know, the Nazis took it over and the communists took it over and the wall finally came down and they remade the company in the early 90s. This was their flagship "We Have Arrived" piece. They only made 50 of them in platinum. That, of course, was now 30 years ago. And so not many of them have survived in this kind of a condition. It also has box and papers, which, you know, maybe there's 25 of them with box and papers or even less. And of those, this is maybe the nicest one. It's virtually unworn. It's just a spectacular piece of history. And like I said, it's basically a perfect watch. So here we go. Let me wind it for you. So this has the best winding of any watch I've ever had, right? Something about the way that the fusée and chain, so this has, if you look on the back here, you can barely see it, but through this window, you can see the fusée and chain mechanism. And because of that, it provides like a direct linkage between the tourbillon and the crown. So check out when I start winding it. It just like immediately translates and comes to life. And you can watch as it goes, the power reserve seems to move as like an extension of your fingers, which is just an incredible feeling. I don't know how to describe it. There's just nothing else like it. It's also smooth as butter, and it's just super killer. Also has a really cool function. I don't know if you noticed before I wound it up, but the seconds were on 0. So when the power reserve dies, it goes around one last time and stops at 0, so that when you then set the watch, you can set it precisely. Super cool function. So this is a great watch. I'll show it to you on the wrist. Again, I'll make a full review video because, you know, I want to share this, but they're really valuable now. And so I mainly just keep it in the bank vault because it freaks me out a little bit. So I don't have it out often to show around. Let me tuck the strap. Holy smokes. I mean, like I said, to me, that's a perfect watch. You can't improve on that in any way. You can have different kinds of watches. You know, I think an Urwerk 103 is also a perfect watch, and they share almost nothing in common. But this is a perfect watch. Man. All right. I hope I brought you guys some fun stuff. Let's see if we've got any questions or anything to get with here. All right. Hey, really cool. Octo's cool. What are tips to do what you do? Collect watches and review? I don't know. Do I still have the gem set Debethune? Unfortunately, I sold that. I miss it. I wish I didn't. But I did. Let's see. Wow, great size, superlative, really cool. Yeah. I mean, that watch is just crazy. So no main questions or anything here. But what do I think about some really cheap stuff? I actually I have a cool watch. It's coming today. It hasn't arrived yet. It cost me, I think, $400, and I thought it was cool. So I'll leave it in suspense. I forget even what the name of the company was. I saw it reviewed by somebody that I like, and I clicked through and I bought it just so I could do a review on it. So we'll see what you can get for $400, but it seemed like something kind of cool. So I'll do that here next time. I'll show it to you guys. I like doing this live. Like, this is I don't like making videos that much. It's a bit of a pain in the butt for me. So I like doing this live and just going with whatever happened to come in that day, whatever I've got out of the safe, and talking off the top of my head. And then it's just, I start it, I go, I end it. I don't have to do anything else. It's a done deal. So I hope you guys like these too. And if you have any questions, start saving them up, hit me with them here, and we can get through them together. And also, like I said, at some point there will be some news in the watch world, and we can go over that kind of stuff too. There just hasn't really been anything this week. Let's see. View on Grubel Forces all in with that curved case. The curved case is cool. Oh, and a handmade one question, Grubel. Yeah, I mean, look, I love Grubel Forces. I'm way on record as one of their longest term and biggest fans. So the handmade one, I think, like as an object, if you didn't know the story behind it or whatever, it's certainly in the top tier of their stuff, but I would put it kind of in the same tier as the like invention piece one, which to me is their best and most underrated watch. That should be $1 million watch to me, but it's not. And of the two, I prefer the invention piece one, certainly as an object. Once you know the story and everything behind the creation of the handmade one, then you can understand more of the significance of it. But it's not quite as amazing and impressive and cool as an object, I think. The curved case is nice. I like the other cases too. I think that one of the problems with Grubel Forces, unfortunately, is most people, obviously never get to see them. And if you do, it's in a dealer where you're probably intimidated going in anyway, and the dealer is, there's a whole weird thing about pulling a $600,000 watch out of the showcase. So everybody's uncomfortable, and the experience of trying it out is not super comfortable, right? So in the absence of that, people are left to just look at the specs online, and I don't really think that tells the whole story. They wear really nicely. Their normal case, even in big proportions, is works really well on my wrist, and I feel like it really suits a lot of their style and complications and stuff like that. So I think the curved case is cool, but I think the other ones are cool too, and are actually quite underrated at the moment. How do I decide what to keep for my personal collection and what gets sold? Well, some of it is just a timing thing. Sometimes I'll go, the only reason to have a personal collection, by the way, is because I got into this because I'm a watch collector and I love watches, and I try to stick to selling the watches that I love one way or another. So it's kind of my overall exit plan with anything is like, well, if it doesn't sell, this is something I'd be happy keeping for myself. And that's kind of like a North Star that I buy based on my own taste. So anything kind of could be in my personal collection. But I do like to keep or have set aside, you can see here, like this is one of my boxes. I have these like couple little Goyard boxes, and they have, some stuff in them. So like these are a couple little vintage things, or, vintage Tudor that actually has box and papers and is like in mint condition. This is a anniversary flat 4 sub that I have. They just happen to be in here. There's not a special significance to that, but this is where I had the Pour le Mérite for the moment. But I have these, and I kind of keep stuff aside that is, just gets me particularly, my juices flowing even more for a while. And that helps just keep me interested. I like to keep a collector's perspective. I like to, keep it so that I'm really thinking about what it is that I like, what's interesting to me, what is better value for money, stuff like that. Sometimes it's just practical. Like I'm loving the gyro tourbillon that I bought recently, and it happens to, sorry for all that noise, but it happens to be a little bit, it was worn. It's a platinum case, and if you saw my review video on it, it's got hairline scratches and stuff like that. So I really don't mind wearing it. It doesn't make any difference if I wear it a little bit more before it sells. So and I'm loving wearing it. So that right now is like in one of my personal boxes. It's still on my website. I tend to put even most of my personal stuff up there. If somebody wants it, I'll generally sell anything, you know, as long as the price is right. But I do have the certain things that I kind of consider more mine, and it helps keep this kind of interesting. The last category of that kind of a thing is sometimes there's a watch that I really love, but they're just kind of undervalued. And I know they're undervalued, and I just know that in a few years they'll be worth more money. This is a perfect example of that. They've gone up a decent amount, but again, I'm certain that this will be $1 million watch in not that long from now. And it's not super far from that at the moment, but it's not quite there. And so I don't really feel any, you know, there's no reason for me to get aggressive to sell such a thing. I'd rather own it, get a little bit of pleasure out of it, and sell it for $1 million in 2 years. So, you know, sometimes I know that, and I don't even listen to myself, which happened to me with 40 different Jorns, you know, that I sold for 70 grand and are all worth $1 million each. Luckily, you know, I'm trying to get a little bit better with knowing that, but that's a super rare thing. I mean, this is the one watch that I have that's like that at the moment. Maybe Invention Piece 1 is a little bit like that. I think I have it on my site for like 480 grand. And I think it's probably worth maybe like 380 to really sell. If I really wanted to sell it right now, I'd probably have to go into the mid to high threes. But I do think that at any moment it could be worth 500, and at any moment after it could be worth $1 million. And so I'm just in like no particular hurry. I hope that answers the question. Yeah, okay, same questions. Like the last one is, what do I think of the GMT Sport? And I think I answered that. It's awesome. It's super cool. But look, for me, the regular platinum with rose gold that I have is the top GMT. It's just killer. And but they're all great. Okay, guys, I love this. I like doing these. I hope enough of you like them to be worth the time. I'm gonna try to do, you know, at least one, maybe two, maybe three, maybe a week, every day. I don't know. I don't know where I'll land on them. If you have thoughts, things that I could add, things that I could subtract, any, you know, pointers or tips, or if you hate them or if you love them, please. I'm all ears. I'm just trying to figure all this out. But I do like being able to connect in this sort of a talkative dialogue kind of a way. And it's easy now that I have a setup here to do it. So it's been a pleasure. I hope you guys all have a really great weekend. Enjoy the time off. Enjoy your families. And I'll be back here next week. Thank you so much.